Hello, Adam Cook from GodIsAGeek.com here to talk with Dan Nails Naylor about a very exciting game. How are you, Dan?
I'm good, thanks, Adam. Yourself?
Yeah, mate, I'm great, and I'm especially great because we're getting to talk about some Nintendo goodness, some Wii U loveliness, hopefully, anyway, because I should say that we're talking about this in a preview sense, but you have been playing Mario Party 10 for Wii U.
I have, and as you'd expect from a Mario Party game, for those of you who don't know, it's a series of board games wrapped up in, a series of mini games wrapped up in a board game kind of sense.
Yeah, I'm not expecting a huge variance, because I reviewed Mario Party 9 for Wii, and I think there's a 3DS one that actually did quite poorly. It was an Island Tour or something like that it was called. Can't remember, but this is Wii U, so I'm expecting you're going to come at me now with some information about the Amiibo integration, right?
Yeah. One of the key game modes is 3. One of them is solely for Amiibo, so you need it to play this mode. And this sets you out on a square board, so you keep going around it, like Monopoly kind of thing. Right. And you use your Amiibo to not only as your character in the game, but also to set the board. So each Amiibo's got their own kind of board pieces in this 4-slotted board.
So does that mean that... Because I'm just trying to think, there was never like hundreds of boards in Mario Party. There was a set number. Are you saying that if you get... Because the one they sent us is the Bowser Amiibo. You put that on your Wii U gamepad, then it sets up a board based on that Amiibo? Yeah,
well, I think the squares, the tiles themselves, they are kind of the same, but there's certain
the
special event
stuff.
Yeah, but there's certain tiles that'll have, you'll do this and it's a Bowser roulette or something from the background kind of comes in, and I think they change.
But that's still kind of cool. I mean, it's not an entire new board, but it's just kind of cool. I mean,
it is pretty cool. And one thing you can do, either from having more Amiibos or as you go around the board, you occasionally collect these tokens, you can swap in other characters' boards, or because it's divided into quarters.
Right.
So you could have like the bottom left as a Bowser and the top right a Donkey Kong, for example.
Right.
Section. So you can kind of mix and match. So that means theoretically, you've got hundreds of different boards, but they're not that different. But it is fun to see the different kind of ones and play on them all.
To be honest, that sounds kind of better than... Well, it sounds like the best Amiibo integration so far, because like I've played Smash Brothers, and I don't think the Amiibos... I mean, I get what they are, but they feel almost like a poor man's Skylanders at that point. But this sounds actually like they're being used in a cool way.
Well, they are in that sense. When you're actually playing with them, it's a little bit different, because each player has a Wiimote in the game, and then you've got the gamepad as well. If you're using an Amiibo, you have to touch the Amiibo to the gamepad to roll the dice, even though you've got a Wiimote still, and you just hit A normally to roll the dice if you're not using an Amiibo in any of the game modes. If you've got an Amiibo, you need to keep moving the Amiibo to the gamepad to, roll the dice and interact and things.
Right.
So it's a little bit... I can't understand why they've not just moved everything over to the gamepad. I guess it's if you're using multiple Amiibos between you and your friends, but even so, why do you have to keep touching it to the gamepad to make it do things? I
suppose it stops people cheating. Like if I had hold of the gamepad and I'm playing as Bowser and you're playing as Mario, and it comes up with Mario and I just quickly hit A to roll the dice for you or something, I suppose it stops that cheating because you've got the Amiibo in your hand, does it?
I guess so, but...
Is it also not... Is that not kind of... Because what I'm imagining is, like, imagine a real board game. I'm imagining they're kind of treating the gamepad like it's the board. So by getting your Amiibo or the dice and putting it to the gamepad or the board, that's kind of their way of saying you're rolling the dice?
Probably, but you can play... Provided you've got one Amiibo, you can play the Amiibo mode with other people or the computer. And they just managed to use the Wiimotes.
Right.
You see what I mean? And it's just like, but as well, you have to have one logged in anyway. A Wiimote logged in as you to use it anyway. So I don't know, it just feels a little bit silly sometimes.
I mean, it sounds like they thought it would be a cool idea, but also that it's sort of just in practice, it's not ideal.
Yeah. But I mean, it does make use of the Wii U in other kind of cool ways. I mean, it's probably one of the best uses of the gamepad I've actually seen.
Right.
is in one of the in the Amiibo mode, when you go into a mini game, if you're the person who's if the person with the Amiibo is the person who's kind of set off a mini game for the others to join in, that person controls the mini game with the gamepad.
Right.
So while the others play off the screen, this person plays off the gamepad, and it can have different view effects and things. But you can also use it to so there's one mode where the other players are on a tilt board that's got a horizontal and a vertical balls of fire kind of row, and you tilt. The person with the gamepad will move the gamepad to try and using motion control to catch out the players on the screen who are running around trying to avoid it. And
Sounds kind of cool.
It is pretty cool. And there's other things, like in the in one of the other modes, in Bowser Party, you get it's like an A to B point chase where you've got 4 players in a little cart and their dice rolls roll them along, and 1 player using the gamepad who chases them as Bowser. And you use the gamepad to roll the dice and things and control Bowser. But there's areas where there's like 5 chests on the screen, and the person who's Bowser can see what's inside each chest and can like scribble and draw graffiti to try and like make people second guess which one to pick and things on the screen.
That.
It's really cool. It's probably the best use of the gamepad I've seen in anything.
Yeah, I really like the sound of that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, it is. It really is, and it's just like little things. It's like what's the other game mode that they've got? I've drawn a blank. I'm sorry. It just uses it in lots of really cool ways. Yeah. And it does that with the Wiimotes as well, because I was a little bit sour on the Wiimotes being kind of in it, because I've got a Pro controller. So it's like, well, why can't I use this? But because of the Wiimotes, they can point it, like varies the types of games you've got. So you've got ones where you'll point and click on the screen, and ones where you'll tilt it sideways and use it to run, and things like this. And it adds a very nice variety to the mini games, really.
Okay. Question I've got to ask, I suppose, is, I'm not bored of finding this out yet, so I thought, well, I may as well ask it, is whenever you get like a new iteration of a long-standing Nintendo franchise on the Wii U, of course, it's in HD. Like Mario Kart, Super Mario 3D World, these all look like absolutely phenomenal in HD. How's Mario Party 10 in HD? Or Mario Party in HD?
It looks as good as a Nintendo game probably should do. It's maybe not got quite the sheen of Smash Brothers or Mario Kart, to be quite frank, but it's probably a lower budget title.
Yeah, it's this. If Nintendo have their own tier of AAA release, so to speak, like where Mario Kart, Smash, and all that are their absolute top. This is a B team game, isn't it? Really, it's never been the biggest selling Nintendo franchise. I wouldn't imagine it's even in their top 5, let alone maybe not even 10.
Yeah, exactly. But it still looks fantastic on the screen. The visuals are bright and colourful. All the boards that you play on, they're all quite varied. Some underwater. These are in the other 2 game modes, not the Amiibo one. They're like there's some underwater. There's one set to the haunted house levels from Mario, things like this. And the sound effects as well. They're all the traditional kind of Mario tunes for each area overlaid on the screen, and it's just really cool. It's just a nice kind of presentable package. So.
I mean, unless there's anything else that you feel that is a salient point to bring up, I don't know that we can talk too much about it. I mean, we're allowed to talk about any part of the game, but it's one of those games. It's very much like, Colin and I were talking about Super Stardust Ultra the other day in another Geek Speak, and it's what more can you say? I mean, people, if they're watching this on YouTube, they're seeing the game, which is partially the point of us doing this, because what more do you say about Mario Party? It's the 10th Mario Party, and that's not including like the 3DS one, because that wasn't even a numbered sequel.
I think the only thing you can say is, while Mario Kart and Smash Brothers and things are probably better multiplayer games, this is a lot more accessible for anyone. Yeah.
It's a board game.
It's a board game with a screen, with a screen component like you get nowadays. Everything comes with a DVD. It's quite reminiscent of one of them. Like, you just go around the board and then you'll do something on the screen almost. But it's great fun. There's plenty of variety. There's lots of different mini games to get in. You'll never get bored.
Yeah, there you go. That's the question. Before we do go, Mario Party. Usually there's a certain amount of mini games. Is there a decent amount of them in 10?
I've barely replayed any, and I've put a fair number of hours into this. There's some I don't think I've even played yet.
That's excellent to hear, because you would hope that with the consoles getting bigger and better, generally speaking, there would be more of them. And there's always a few duds, like, it's just by the nature of what they are. But I kind of love that in Mario Party, because a game series I've long missed that I adored was the controller breaking track and field series. I don't know if you've ever played any of those.
I did, yes.
Where you'd have your techniques like, mine used to be get the pen lid of a Bic biro and rub it between the two buttons. And I found, some would call that cheating, but we all had our own techniques. And I find that Mario Party is pretty good at giving me that feeling again. Like, there are games within it, the mini games within it, that do dial into that kind of, I need to get my technique right. And I think there used to be games that were literally like the track and field style hammer A and B,
Yeah, there are. There's one where you're climbing a wall and you just got to hammer 2 and A, alternately as quickly as you can, and things like that. But it's it is great fun. There's plenty of variety in them. It also, while some of the games are skill based, some of them are more pure luck, as is going around the board.
Right. Yeah.
So you'll never. It's very hard for one person to win just because they're better, as you maybe find in Mario Kart.
I was going to ask you that. I said before we go, but I do have one final question for you, Dan. In Mario Party, often you can win every single mini game but lose the overall game, because at the end of it they give out these sort of rewards for X, Y, and Z. Does that still happen? Can you still lose even though you should have won?
You do get awards at the end of the game, but actually I think they've only swung it once, and that was a really tight game.
Right.
Things. It's never like I think there's maybe 5 they give out, but they normally only give out 2 per game. So it's like person who travelled the furthest distance, person who travelled the least distance when they were rolling the dice, kind of thing.
But if you dominate me in the actual gameplay, like you win every mini game, you're doing really well, you get all the stars, whatever they choose this time.
If I could win every mini game, but if you were getting every, you passed through the collection of stars on the board itself,
stars, right? Yep.
You'd probably win.
But that's what I mean. Say you get 8 stars, and I have 2. I can't really win that at the end. Because the biggest thing that annoyed me, again, I like the series, is that it was so unfair, because you could have a not that close a game and lose because of these awards at the end that award this same the guy who finished everything crap 6 stars, and all of a sudden he's beating you 6-5.
No, it wasn't. I don't think there's any swings as big as that. And on the board, there's plenty of occasions to lose stars as well, and things like this. It balances out really well. And even like there's a Bowser square, and I had 0 stars by this point in the game when I got it, and it was quite late on. And to bring me back into the game, because it does like this little roulette thing of like, what punishment are you going to get? And it was lose half your stars. And I got that, and I was like, well, I've got no stars, it doesn't matter. And Bowser went, you've got no stars, I'm going to give you 20 just to balance things out. So that brought me back into the game. So it never lets, maybe you'd maybe call it rubber banding, it never lets anyone get too far, but it is kind of accidental. So rather than screwing
you at the end, it kind of keeps you closer together throughout.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, I suppose what really remains to say is to keep it on GodIsAGeek.com, keep it on YouTube.com/GodIsAGeek, and we'll bring you more, I'm sure, at some point. Thanks to Dan for his time.
Thank you, Adam.
And we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Bye.